Monster. Finde ich gut.
Danke.
I'm responsible for bringing the characters we construct to life. Each separate head, each separate body, and each separate skeleton. I put them all together and make one complete figure out of them. We've built grabbers and controllers around this skeleton, and with their help, we can easily get at the individual parts. For instance, it's possible to animate the ears fast and easily, or to make a fist with the help of this button. My area is the facial expressions of the characters. After all, they are the most important way the figures express themselves. My job right now is to give the Bramf character a nice grin. In order to do this, I can start with a neutral head, take the part here that forms a grin, and then make it appropriately expressive. With this as my basis, I can then create a library of different facial expressions. Then I hand these over to the animation department so that they can make the animations full of life. On the one hand, I'm the animation supervisor for the animation team dealing with the Snurks. The Snurks are the bad guys in Gaia. Another one of my tasks is to do with the skinning and weighting of the main and supporting characters. It's my job, which they call skinning in the biz, to simply connect the skin with this bone structure, so that, for instance, an arm moves like an arm, and the group of muscles create the appropriate shape. Basically, I put the skin on these characters so that I can layer the so-called maps on them. These are blocks of colored data, either just for one single skin color or also for the wrinkles and pores. When I get the model, it's in a gray basic version. Then it's my job to add the complete set of color data, such as reddening and any age marks too. The first step is to configure this across a pattern of squares. The next step is to lay this color data map over the scalped skin. After that, the so-called bump map is added. This is responsible for the wrinkles, pores, and all the other blemishes in the skin. And finally, we still have to add the specular shine map that basically controls the distribution of gleaming on the face.
Gaia befindet sich in größter Gefahr. Ohne den Zauberstein sind wir alle verloren. Sind wir alle verloren. Buh, Sino! Wo seid ihr? Rettet uns! Nein!
Our work begins the moment we get a file, a motion capture figure file. An actor makes a movement, and whatever we're able to capture, we capture. Then, if we're missing a gesture, or we want to give the figure a certain accent, we'll add that on afterwards. So here you see they're very much in sync. And here's Zeno, for instance, starting to do something new that simply never happened in the motion capture stage. I'm employed here as the animator and animation supervisor for the team of humans in Gaia. What we see here are the motion capture blocks of data that are first created by an actor and then saved. I import them and lay them on my skeleton, Albert in this case. Of course, Albert still needs skin put on him, and that looks like this. More or less colorless for us, in fact, as color's not our area. And then the facial animation and, for instance, the finger has to be added to this. If, for example, he picks up characters, then that has to be animated appropriately. The characters are still missing, not to mention the whole surroundings. That's it here. Now you can see him in surroundings that roughly match what you also get to see later on in the movie. Here's the sequence with the little characters he's supposed to pick up. The fingers move themselves in the appropriate manner. The face has expression and can talk, and he interacts with the objects. Let's take the arm as an example of penetration. The lower arm and the upper arm don't show any resistance. That means that, in fact, the clothing doesn't have any space for the simulation. And so we have to create a small gap so that the clothing can be simulated without any problems. At this penetration bulge, I've added 2 plates that remove the penetration effect. When they're activated, it basically looks like this. You can't see the penetration anymore, and there's enough space for the clothing. And that's what the objects look like that determine this. My main area of responsibility here is the creation and simulation of the digital clothing. It begins with a naked character, which is measured. A clothing pattern is created that is then fed into a 3D program. Then the adjustments are made so that the basic pattern is attached to the character and they can be used in the simulation process. I'm responsible for the textures of the cloth. They're the structures of the clothes that the main characters wear. I get a pair of pants in this form from the simulation department, in a basic state. These pants are then transformed over the course of time into a pair of cord jeans. I do that in a 2D graphics program that I use to construct the cord cloth. I start with the most basic aspects and then work my way more and more into the details, adding dirt and mud and wear and tear to them. Then I transfer this texture onto the basic object until it finally reaches this stage. My job here is the hair and fur. When I get a finished head from the modeling department, the task is then to place the individual strands of hair on it. In this case, about 200 strands determine how the hair moves. And at the end, we finally have those strands that will become visible in the rendering. As soon as the hairstyle is ready, lighting has to be added to it, and then everything can be rendered. And then it looks like that.
What are you looking at?
Let me see. First of all, we gotta catapult our way into here, and then maybe if I had a piece of suspender belt, perhaps an elastic or something. A chain. If only I had a chain.
See? They love me. Did someone call my name? To the rescue!
Zeno is an opportunistic, and pig-headed, arrogant, complete douchebag, sucking old chick. Other than that, he's okay.
I'm hungry. I'm hungry. I am hungry. I am hungry. Don't you ever get hungry?
Atlanta. Oh, it's about time. Atlanta. Oh, you know it. Atlanta.